Good morning, everybody. Jack O'Malley with my weekly update. And again, I'm coming to you on a Thursday morning for a reason I will mention here at the end, because today is a very interesting anniversary that I'll share with you in just a minute. But some of the things happening this week in Lansing. Last week we talked about a potential gas tax holiday, right? We passed out of the House a bill that said, hey, for 6 months, we'll suspend the gas tax in the state of Michigan, the state gas tax, not the federal. We sent it over to the Senate, and the Senate took it up on Tuesday, and they passed it. But there's a procedural thing called immediate effect. In the House, we gave it immediate effect. It means as soon as it's signed by the governor, it would become law. Well, the Senate has a little different procedure, and the Democrats were able to block immediate effect. So even though it passed, it would not take the, and then if it were signed by the governor, it wouldn't take effect till 90 days after the end of the term. So it was out there, but the Democrats were able to basically kill any immediate relief from the gas tax situation. So just an FYI there. What else have I got here for you? Let's stick with taxes for a minute. We had a bill on the House floor that would remove the sales and use tax from diapers, both adult and child. Now, if you remember, a month ago, a few weeks ago anyway, we passed a bill that would remove the sales and use tax from feminine hygiene products. Makes sense, right? This, in my opinion, we don't pay tax on drugs and food and things because it's a basic necessity. Well, I feel, feminine hygiene products are pretty much the same. And for a young family and, elderly, diapers, are not one of those things that you run around telling everybody that you're using, right? Especially if, you're my age. So it made sense. The Democrats defeated it. So, and we put it up on the board, and it lost it was a two-bill package, 49-54 and 50-53. So there's another one that doesn't happen. Then we did pass a bill that I think makes a lot of sense, because I've been hearing about it in my district and from around the state. For some reason, obviously, COVID has played into some of this, but even before COVID, our emergency rooms and our healthcare workers have been getting assaulted by folks, whether they be the patient or someone with the patient. And law enforcement, it's been kind of hard to, what do you do, how do you do it? Well, what we've done is we've tightened up those laws if you assault a healthcare worker, and we've stiffened the penalties. Now, that bill is being sent on to the Senate, so it's not law yet, but we did pass that out of the House yesterday, and I hate to set, if you will, make specific classes for laws and crimes like that, punishments, I should say, but this is one where I think our healthcare workers need to be protected, and if people start realizing you're going to have a pretty stiff penalty if you, attack a nurse or a doctor or a healthcare worker, I think that's a good thing. Also, we've introduced a package of bills that, and I'm on the package, FOIA, Freedom of Information, is a big deal, and government agencies and that sort of thing. And some people abuse it. They just, frivolous requests all the time. But then we've heard of agencies and things that stall, and oh yeah, that's going to cost $100,000 to get you that information. What? So my bill, part of the package, the whole package speeds things up, makes it very clear what people who are being FOIA'd can and can't do. My bill basically says, look, we need to make sure front and center, whoever the FOIA leader is, the person who's in charge of taking FOIA requests, their name and contact information is front and center on that agency's website. Because, we need to file a Freedom of Information Act. Who do we file it with? I don't know. You call, you can't, this would say, Freedom of Information Officer, boom, here they are. Fred Schmidt, Smith, and here's his number and email. So that's what my bill does. And it's just part of a package that would bring more transparency and availability and guidelines to the FOIA situation. Now, for those of you out there who are ready to pounce, because I know there's at least one, I do support FOIA for the governor and the legislature. Those bills that we passed earlier in the year are sitting over in the Senate, growing hair. So just so you know, yo, Jack, you want to put FOIA on other people, but what about you? I support those bills. So, they're over in the Senate. I voted yes. All right, let's see here. Oh, yeah, this is the anniversary. I saw this story, and today is St. Patrick's Day, right? So a happy St. Patrick's Day to one and all. I always say St. Patrick's Day is an important day because of the heritage of the Irish in the United States. I am an American. I got a name like O'Malley. Irish ancestry, but if I went over to Ireland, I'm an American, right? They're not going to mistake me for a Dublin or County Mayo native, right? So I always say 4th of July is my holiday, right? That's our Independence Day. But I do stop on this St. Paddy's Day and always remember my ancestors and the good people that helped forge this country and came over here. So St. Patrick's Day is an important day. And that's why it sticks in my head. 2 years ago today, the state had closed our schools. COVID was hitting. We didn't know what was happening. And we come in, it was a Tuesday. We come in the first day of the legislative week, and we're hearing about all of this. Nobody knows, right? What are we going to do as a state legislature? And we're saying, well, we got to work with the governor. We, might not agree with everything on politics, but we've got to work with her early in this thing because we don't know what's going on. So that day we appropriated $150 million that was for to be used by the governor as she saw fit, for health care, a couple other things. Anyway, we didn't know, we knew, and we were going to close the legislature. We were going to leave. And so we made sure she was appropriated with some money so she didn't have to come and ask us in these early stages, right? And we had some other, discussions and how do we prepare and what do we do? And our session went into the evening. It was like about 8:30, as my memory tells me. And we adjourned, and it was like, we're not sure when we're coming back. And I remember just leaving this hollowed building, and we were, basically shutting things down. And it was a very scary time for all of us. And even in the legislature here, it was like, wow, this don't happen, right? So, and I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. Obviously, I am not a fan of the governor and the way she handled a lot of things. I don't like the way UIA's been handled. I'm not a big fan of how DHHS has done things. I'm not going to, relitigate all of it. We all know where we're at with that. But with that as well, this was from Monday or Tuesday of the week, that our COVID numbers are down. The number of vaccines delivered to Michigan continues to drop. And DHHS is reporting conditions and masking guidelines from schools have been dropped. And our vaccination rate has not moved in recent times. 66.4% of Michiganians have been vaccinated. So, we can discuss, it sounds like, this COVID is becoming endemic. It's going to be with us in one form or another. We're going to learn to vaccinate against it. We're going to learn to take care of ourselves and go with it. So we're moving forward. But today is a 2-year anniversary that I know I personally won't forget, because here I am, a newly minted legislator, and been in office a year, and here we are shutting things down. So a very interesting anniversary. Today is St. Patrick's Day this year. So I'm going to leave you with, I heard this on the radio driving in the other day, and I laughed out loud because this is one of those things. Daylight savings time, Eastern Standard Time. The debate rages. And this week, of course, we sprung forward. And we've had different bills in the House here in the legislature, but they never go anywhere. And the real reason is because we would have to get Congress's approval to do this, because you got to remember, the time zones they're there for a reason. Back in the day, the old railroads, right? You know, nobody knew exactly what time it was. So we set up this uniform standard of time around the world. And you can modify it here or there, but there's got to be an okay by somebody, governing. So that falls on Congress. And Congress has set this up back in, the late 60s, I think it was, early 70s, that we went back to this daylight savings time. Well, earlier this week, the Senate unanimously passed a bill that would say we would make daylight savings time permanent. Because I've had people say, which do you want? Eastern or Standard Time, or do you want daylight savings time? And most people say, I don't care which one it is, just pick one. Well, Congress picked one, and the Senate passed a bill unanimously that would set daylight savings time as the permanent time zone, if you will, for it's now headed to the House. We'll see what happens. But to the best of my observer status, this is probably the most significant time agreement here that we've seen. It's always been can't get enough votes one way or another. Sounds like the Senate was unanimous. We'll see what happens in the House. That's what I got for you this week. All right, that's an update. As you can see, I got in early here. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. It was in the 60s yesterday here in Lansing. I got a little bit of spring fever. And again, happy St. Patrick's Day to my dad. May he rest in peace. My mother. My ancestors. I think of them today as an American who with Irish descent. St. Patrick's Day is a good day. So I hope you have a good day. Keep smiling. Pray for each other. Let's be kind, and I'll talk to you next week.